Golazo Network proudly presents the USL Championship on CBS Sports. Tonight presented by Sunbelt Rentals. Colorado Springs, the reigning champion, welcomes Phoenix Rising to Widener Field in Colorado. Good evening, everyone. Joined alongside by Chris Nurse, Mike Watts. Take a look at the Western Conference standings. And herein lies the problem, Chris. They are both at the bottom, and yet one win, and all of a sudden you're right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, obviously it's a place where we're not used to seeing either of these two teams. Obviously Colorado were champions last year, and Phoenix Rising have been one of the stronger teams in the USL Championship for a number of years. So neither team right now is where they're expected to be. But as you mentioned, one win propels them right up into the middle of the table.
You and I had a chance to talk to James Chambers, the head coach for Colorado Springs, and I think the main takeaway is they feel like they're really close. Think about the game 10 days ago. Up 2-0 on San Antonio on the road, and then they watched it get away in the second half.
Yeah, I think the problem for both of these two teams, they're so alike right now, is their inability to keep clean sheets. As much as they've been great at scoring goals, they've conceded just as many. And as we all know, championships are often built on great defense, and none of them are representing that right now.
Both teams just one win through 7 games, and both sides have been certainly frustrated by their inability to finish games off. It would be Grieve that scored the winner for San Antonio, and a 3-2 victory on CBS Sports Network in San Antonio for the 2022 champion. Now our player to watch is presented by Modelo. Justin Dillon, they aren't defending well. They're scoring, though.
Yeah, Justin Dillon has 5 goals so far this season. So offensively, both of these teams, as you'll see, have been good going forward. But defensively, the focus needs to be on Saint, it needs to be on Asenge, it needs to be on Metasal, and it needs to be on Mahoney tonight.
Take a look at Phoenix Rising. Over the course of this year, the 0 clean sheets really stands out when you talk to the coaching staff. But they're scoring plenty. They're just conceding way too much.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting when we spoke to Pamadou Carr and asked him if he had belief in his defense and if he's going to continue working with the group that he has. And then the next day, boom, there's a sign-in of a defender. Asel Asengo comes in.
Comes in from LA Galaxy. And do we know entirely what we're going to get out of this young player from the Galaxy system? Not just yet, but I do think anything has to be an improvement in terms of adding to their depth at this moment.
Yeah, I think it brings fresh energy. It brings competition for places. It lets the players know that are currently getting the start and that, hey, he's not satisfied. And obviously it's a fresh breath of fresh air. It's a player who's going to come in. He's coming to the starting lineup straight away. He's going to be impotent tonight to see if he's able to keep a clean sheet for the first time this season.
Yep, Pamadou Ka made it clear. Colorado Springs has what we want. The reigning champions hosting Phoenix Rising at Widener Field. Lineups and kickoff when we return.
Injured in a crash? Get McDivitt and you get a firm dedicated to every single detail of your case.
We have the knowledge and resources to investigate the crash and your insurance company's small print.
Details matter. That's why we dive deep into every aspect of your case. This gives us the firepower we need to make the insurance company pay you the money you deserve.
We never ask you to pay a penny until we get you max money for your injuries.
Online at McDivittLaw.com.
McDivitt.
The moment you call McDivitt, an action plan is put into place right away to get you the help you need.
Each case and each client is different, with different needs and solutions. Your attorney and team immediately investigates every aspect of your crash and injuries.
We track down all the paperwork and deal directly with the insurance company for you.
We keep you in the loop every step of the way, fighting to get you max money for your injuries.
And you never pay us a dime until we get money for you.
McDivitt.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Today's player walkout is sponsored by Children's Hospital Colorado. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, at the site of their championship triumph a year ago, welcome Phoenix Rising, who won it all in 2023. Tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Phil Long. Colorado Springs had to make a change. They're without Matt Real due to red card. What do you like in the group?
I think both of these teams have similar lineups. They like to go with 3 players in attack, which of course gives them a lot of firepower going forward. As we continue to highlight, it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt defensively. Neither team has openly stated that they're not happy with their defensive performances so far this season, and there needs to be better.
Conversely, for Phoenix Rising, Saint and Asenge will be key to this back line. Avievu exciting alongside Akello in midfield, and that is a fearsome front 3.
Yeah, I think all eyes are on Asenge and what he's going to add to this team, whether it's presence, whether it's aerial ability, whether it's leadership. They need somebody who's capable of getting the troops together, getting them defensively organised, and an ability to keep clean sheets. Of course, they've not had the ability to keep the same lineup consistently from game to game. There's been a lot of interchanging of players, and you know, with defence, it's very important to have a consistent defence for cohesion, for chemistry, for understanding, and that's not been able to happen so far this season for Phoenix Rising. So it's going to be interesting to see how Asenge is able to come into this game and have an impact and a presence.
Matthew Corrigan in the middle tonight. There is Abraham Romero, practically begging James Chambers to see a clean sheet. They've split time between Romero and Herrera to start the year, much as Phoenix has split time between their 2 goalkeepers. They'll start with Patrick Rakowski here tonight, who led Orange County to the championship title in 2021. Well, it's always a ruckus atmosphere here at high altitude. First touch belongs to Phoenix, and we are underway. Colorado Springs hosting Phoenix Rising, last couple champions out of the USL Championship, here on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. Colin Smith floats away from Lacroix. Bypassed Micheletto. Here's Skierce. Back from Formella.
And of course, playing in Colorado does pose one unique challenge to some of the other teams in the USL Championship, and it is the altitude. There's a little bit less oxygen when you're playing in Colorado than you are when you're playing on some of the North fields, and that does provide an advantage, a significant advantage for the home team. Some teams like to come in a week in advance to try and adapt. Some try to come in with as shorter window as possible and get in and out, but of course it makes it a little bit harder for the away team, and it is definitely a home advantage for Colorado Springs.
Endley wasn't able to take it away. Bounces in here to Montgomery. He got swarmed. Did you ever have a preference as a player going into altitude? The idea of assimilating to it or just getting in and out?
You kind of trust the science. You know, it's not something you experience too often as a player, but they say that the shorter you're in, the less adaptation your body has, because if you go in, then your body slows down and it begins to adapt and change, and you don't really have long enough for it to be effective unless you go in with a 2-week window. So generally, when we played in altitude, it was always try and get in and out as quick as possible, so it didn't have the full slowdown effect on your body.
Avievu takes the return in central midfield. Has done a good job pulling strings when he's been in the lineup this year. Floated long. And a sprint all the way down to Romero. You talk to Colorado Springs and they say, we have 2 number 1s. The old adage, if you have 2 1s, you don't have one at all. I don't think Colorado Springs, based on the history of these 2, can say that. But they would like, I would imagine, to see one grab the reins.
Yeah, and I think the benefit of that is that it keeps both goalkeepers on their toes. Normally, in teams, you have a clear number 1, and then there's a keeper who knows they're the backup. But when you have 2 keepers that are very capable of being the number 1 keeper, it keeps both on their toes. They both have to stay sharp, because you know any mistake or lapse in form, and there's somebody who's very capable and ready to take your spot, and that's not always the case in many teams.
It's worth noting the 2 goalkeepers tonight were the co-number 1s, so to speak, in 2021 with Orange County when they won the title. Rakowski was in goal for the finale against Tampa Bay, and Romero started 9 games that season.
Well, those two number ones are currently sitting at 11, so that's 1 and 1.
Yeah, that's right. Here's Okello.
You could tell maths was my key subject. Not.
Formella. Montgomery. And there's Sesenge. Fontana has support from Hanya, kept inside for Micheletto. He took a push. Play continues. Ricochet past Fontana. Phoenix has it now. The crowd a bit rowdy about the lack of a call.
Right in front of the referee there. It did look like there was a shove in the back from behind, but the referee obviously had a much better view than us and did not blow his whistle.
Offside flag up now. Probably a decent chance to see if we can get a better look than the referee had. Of course, we get to look at it again. No VAR in the championship.
It's a great running behind here. There's a little soft. There's nothing like...
Yeah, less than it looked like in real time, right?
No. Sold it well.
Not well enough. No one's going to pull one over on old Matthew Corrigan tonight. And there is Rakowski. Came up through FC Nuremberg. Ended up playing about 100 games in Finland. Was a German under-15 to under-20 goalkeeper. Some players that ultimately had pretty remarkable careers over in Europe. In behind, Micheletto, back heel. Hanya won't count, offside. On the initial ball into Micheletto. But Yosuke Hanya, who's yet to score this season after bagging 5 a season ago, was in the right place.
It was interesting here because you saw very early the goalkeeper stops playing, and normally you encourage players to play through the whistle irrespective of whether it's offside or not. You encourage them not to take matters into their own hands, but it's a good counter-attack here from Colorado Springs. Hanya just a little bit too eager with his run in behind.
Rakowski left that up to question. But if you're Colorado Springs, I think the idea is at the outset trying to get at this Phoenix back line that have very little consistency. Probably. Yeah,
I think that the goal is obviously to try and get an early goal and build some momentum going forward and put Phoenix on the back foot. I think when you've been on a spell of games that may not have had the outcome that you desired, when you go down a goal, it's always extremely hard to respond because it's almost a case of here we go again, and it plays into the psychology of the players.
Dylan helps to force a corner. This corner kick is brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. I know you're a big fan of that friendly-looking frog. McDivitt.
Hopefully one of these teams can make a leap up the table tonight.
All right. Micheletto. Nodded away by Skeers. Second bite of the apple here from Marco Micheletto. Flicked along. Was in Mahoney's direction. He backed away looking for the second ball. Dylan, a drive. That's saved by Rakowski. Hanya back across the face. Headed down. Mahoney. That's blocked. And ricochets high. Colorado Springs still putting on pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, and at this stage of the game, it's whether Colorado Springs are attacking very well or Phoenix are defending very well. There's a lot of pressure in this attacking third right now for Colorado Springs.
Let's go take a look back at that corner. Ooh.
Ball forced to the edge of the box here. It's a great volley.
Don't hit it much sweeter than that.
Keeper does exceptionally well to get across and parry it away. But very fierce start to this first half from Colorado Springs. Relentless in their attacking.
Ball comes screaming off Lacroix. And when you talk to James Chambers, he said the first 50 minutes of that game in San Antonio, we controlled the game. But the game isn't 50 minutes long.
Yeah, the game's not 50 minutes long, and I don't think the results, the consistency of the results so early in the season are by accident. I think, as we spoke about, you can control the game, but if you continue to concede as many goals as you can, then it's going to be very difficult to win games.
Nicoletto is offside again.
I think we see a trend of sometimes teams controlling possession and goals and opportunities created, and then they don't get the end result at the end of the game. There has to be a combination of stopping the opponents from having opportunities and being clinical with the opportunities that you do create.
Earlier tonight, former Switchbacks head coach Brendan Burke in Hartford went up 1-0 in 5 minutes and fell 4-2 to Charleston. That's any reminder, said fact. Rakowski will send this away, 31-year-old from Germany who started just 2 games 2 seasons ago, 1 game last season, already his 5th start this year. Decent ball out there. Lavievu, angle tightening, slashed above the bar. And Formella making his presence known 10 minutes in.
And that's exactly what you could say here. You could maybe say Colorado Springs have dominated the opening 10 minutes, but Formella's had an opportunity here where they could be 1-0 down. So for the opportunities they had, the possession they've had, the creating and attacking opportunities they had, not far away from being 1-0 down. So I think the key is being able to convert those opportunities, turning that pressure into goals more so than just goal-scoring opportunities.
Montgomery coming back to Rakowski. Hey, you can enter the Prinks Tires Tailgate Kit Sweepstakes for a chance to win a prize pack worth up to $3,000. Scan the QR code on screen to enter today. I get the tires, the grill, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Ball ahead, and a real chance now, Margarita! Margarita bangs it in! And for all that Colorado Springs has done right, Phoenix pounces, and they lead on the road.
And exactly what we were speaking about. The dominance has been from Colorado Springs in his opening 10 minutes, but they find themselves one down. He plays this ball with absolute quality. This was the pass made the opportunity, and Margarita buries this into the top right-hand corner of the net. There's no opportunity for Romero to get close to that. But this pass here, into stride, a great first touch, and then the quality in the second touch gives the goalkeeper no chance. Phoenix Rising find themselves ahead in this game, 1-0.
Gerald Margarita makes it 3 goals in 6 games to start the year after just 2 goals in his 10 games last season with the club. Romero and Colorado Springs will continue without that long-awaited clean sheet. And Phoenix Rising flying at the outset with 2 chances in the last couple of minutes after being able to withstand the early Colorado Springs barrage. They've got a goal a dozen minutes in.
And look, Formella gave the warning shot. He had the similar opportunity just a few moments earlier, but Margarito, the finish is absolutely astounding. He gave the goalkeeper no chance. Often those situations, you see a player go across the goalkeeper, try to chip the goalkeeper. He put it top right-hand corner where the goalkeeper had no chance of saving it. I think now for the next 5 minutes, it's very important how Phoenix manage the game. Don't give up goal-scoring opportunities. Stay tight, stay compact, and frustrate Colorado Springs now. They're home in front of their home fans, and they're down a goal so early in the game.
Nicoletto nods it down. There's contact in the box, not contact worthy of a penalty. Zandy touching out, driven away before Endley could latch on.
What Phoenix Rising need to do is slow down the tempo of the game. If they can, try to maintain some sustained periods of possession themselves, because right now they haven't done that. They've been very much about the counter-attack, which is something James Chambers was aware of. He said many of the goals that they've scored so far this year have been on the counter-attack, and again, they've gone and done that again tonight.
Anthony Fontana should go into the book for this. Yellow card has been issued to Anthony Fontana. Caution is sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Which, to be fair, sounds like the advice you're giving Phoenix. And Colorado Springs, in these moments, they've been pressing everything coming back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, they started off the game extremely bright. They just didn't convert the chances that they were creating. And you don't always, the game can be very cruel. You don't always get what you deserve in games. You get what you take. And they haven't taken the chances that they created early on in this game, and they find themselves 1-0 down. I think the goal potentially took away some of their momentum, and now definitely plays in favor of Phoenix. Away from home, 1 goal ahead. As I said, the most important thing now is going to be game management and those players on the pitch taking responsibility for controlling the tempo of the game, slowing things down, and then starting to build their confidence and having some sustained periods of possession where they can take a breather also. If they don't have possession of the ball and they're always chasing, there's going to be moments when they're so wide open and split because they're going to lose energy that even when they win it, they're not going to have the energy to be productive with it.
Tonight's game presented by Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. Smith. Ooh, slips right by Hanya. Smith angling for the bike. Didn't play out, but that was some pretty acrobatic stuff.
It's an audacious effort.
Sacco off the mark.
Great play in the wide area from Smith. It's not a bad delivery, and when your confidence riding high, you try anything.
You get that right, and we're talking about the potential goal of the year in this league. Injured player coming out of that off the wing. Let's remind you how we got to this 1-0 scoreline. Phoenix Rising grabbing a goal from Cheryl Margarita in the 11th minute of play off the giveaway.
Sloppy defending there gave away the opportunity in the first place. I think it's Ward who struggled to get the ball under control, but Margarita's finish is nothing to be frowned upon.
Sacco led the charge. And Margarita with that tremendous finish. While Margarita
drops the mic.
Yeah, may have just given the signal. This was not what Phoenix had in mind, especially after that pretty magnificent goal.
But if there's a way to make your mark in the opening 15 minutes of the game, Margarita has definitely done that tonight.
From the Netherlands, senior international for Curaçao. And his night is, in fact, done. You could argue Remy Cabral would start on most nights, and so the drop-off, while they'll have to make some changes, perhaps tactically, in terms of talent, isn't a big one, if any at all.
And if there's ever to be inspired, it's the player who was playing ahead of you when it's got themselves a goal within 15 minutes. So now Cabral has some big boots to fill coming into this game.
Substitution brought to you by UCCS, where business careers start. So Cabral will get down to business now. First time off the bench all season. 5 goal contributions in 7 starts. 3 goals and a couple dimes. Cabral more out-and-out number 9, which maybe that means Sacco, the way he's shifted off to the right for the moment. Could be a rotation we see a little bit more. Here's Hanya. Lacroix overlapping. Sends the service, snagged by Rakowski at Justin Dillon back there.
Phoenix Rising doing a good job of playing out of pressure there. I was watching to see they were playing through the back and Colorado Springs were pressing high, and I was interested to see whether the Colorado Springs were going to win the ball or high up, but Phoenix did a good job of being patient, keeping possession, eventually winning a free kick a little higher up the field. Of course, right now, there's I wouldn't say a pandemic, I would say there's an epidemic of everybody playing out the back, even when teams are pressing high and leaving the space behind them to play. I think sometimes teams get so enamored in making the game look beautiful rather than being effective in making decisions based upon where the space is, that sometimes we lose sight of the efficiency and the purpose of scoring goals. But Phoenix did a good job on this occasion of playing out from the back.
They played advantage, and Formella just continued to thrash at the back of Andeli. And a free kick at a pretty dangerous spot here.
Yeah, I think when you realize that you may have had a tougher start to the game, or the home team was having the advantage, and then you get yourself ahead in a game of this magnitude and a very difficult place to come and play, the last thing you want to do is give away free kicks and set piece opportunities in dangerous areas. And of course, it's a very dangerous area, maybe 20 yards out from goal.
Rakowski looks on. This is Micheletto, chips toward Dillon. Fontana, a little room to run here for Lacroix. Cabral closes. Fontana.
It's a good strike there from Fontana, not much backlift at all. Takes a deflection as it's traveling through. And you could see from the reaction, Rakowski scrambles across his line.
I thought you were talking about the reaction of the fans. I didn't pay to rearrange my face. This is a 2-on-1 in the corner if you want it. And there it is, Fontana. Angles back, well, best laid plans.
It's high and wide. Made some kids' day there.
Yeah, you got to give it back. There you go.
Run.
Kind of wearing the wrong color shirt tonight, to be fair. Red to a Rising game. Here's Montgomery. Still just 18 years old, and he's really had to toss right into the fire. That's a nice bit of skill from Okello. There's a 6-figure offer from Wolfsburg out for him as a young player at Toronto. There's Okello on the other end. And Cabral in there.
You can see he has the ability to be a box-to-box midfielder, to break up play, to join the attack. He also has a presence in the center of the park.
Yeah, he's every bit of 6'5". Senge will watch this all the way back to Rakowski. If you're unfamiliar with Patrick Rakowski, this is a guy who actually was the bronze Fritz Walter under-19 medal winner back in 2012. That's the award given at the under-19, under-18, and under-17 levels in Germany. Essentially Youth Player of the Year, gold, silver, and bronze, of course. And the list of people who've won that award or been in that mix in the past, pretty remarkable. Here's a little pushing, shoving, hugging, grabbing. Did I miss any adjectives? Verbs? Reaching the end line, ball across. Hanya settles. Couldn't totally get that off his chest.
I would say that's a big let-off there for Phoenix. Hanya controls it on his chest, and when he takes that touch, there's nobody going to put him under pressure to block the shot. Unfortunately, he rushes a little bit.
Ball across, unable to get the finishing touch on it. That glanced off of Cabral.
And that was a great opportunity there for Cabral to get himself on the score sheet. Again, it's off a counter-attack. Hanya just had an opportunity at one end. Sacco breaks in behind, and Cabral just needs to get something and guide this on target, and it's the back of the net. The momentum, the pace is already on the ball. Just needed somebody to guide it on frame. Unfortunately, Cabral guides it wide of the upright, and it's another big let-off for Colorado Springs on the counter-attack.
There's Fontana. Oh, what speed from Endley. Not the finish.
It's great speed from Endley. He knocks it around one side and runs the other side, but just lacked the quality in the final delivery into the box. Did tremendously well to create the space. He's got the beating of Montgomery all day for pace. So now Montgomery's going to have to be very careful. He's going to have to manage his distances. He's not going to be able to get as tight to Endley in those situations because he knows he's got the beating of him for speed. So as a young player, it's a fantastic matchup to be in. Now he's got to use his mind, he's got to use his positioning, he's got to block the run. He's probably going to need Saint to get across and provide a little bit of support a little bit quicker earlier also.
Endley was a first-round pick for FC Dallas a couple years ago out of Indiana. I have a feeling that'll be pretty intriguing to watch here tonight. Well, we've got a moment. The USL on the CBS Sports Network kicks off May, a matchup of NorCal rivals. Oakland Roots take on Sacramento Republic. It's tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on the CBS Sports Network. And remember, the USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. By the way, I was mentioning that Fritz Walter medal. Goetze, Schürrle, Boateng, Neuer, Ter Stegen. I mean, like, the class of German soccer for the last 20 years has in some way or another been honored by these Fritz Walter medals, like Rakowski was. Ball lashed across the face. Somehow that found Sacco.
It's some list to have your name alongside.
Wild. You might be going, Boateng, which one? Both.
World Cup winners, Champions League winners.
USL Championship winners.
We're getting up there, we're getting up there.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Something, biggest league in the world. I read Reddit, I know. We're not the 35-team boondoggle we used to be.
Hey, but this game will have a whole lot different meaning in a short while once the promotion relegation kicks in, huh? Both of these teams right now will be sitting in relegation battle. And I think at that point, the momentum, the energy, the focus, the intensity takes a whole new demeanor when you're sitting in a position where you can essentially drop out the league. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And look, Colorado Springs can sit here and say, well, we're doing better than last year where we started 0-5.
Yeah, I think.
But as often as you get out of it and win the championship, I think you're probably 5 times more likely to get relegated out of that position at the beginning of a season. And you'll have very different conversations come May with this record in 3 years.
Yeah, and I think these slow starts that we sometimes see in the league now become less acceptable because fans anybody within the organization wants to see their team sitting in a relegation position, especially if you were last year's champions. Unless you're Manchester United, then it becomes pretty normal. But nobody wants to see the champions in the relegation positions the following season. So I think it completely changes the emphasis, the focus, the intensity. As I said, I'm pretty excited for when it kicks off.
A couple years away from the intent from USL to launch a first division league, and with it, promotion relegation.
And I'm most excited because organizations just have to become a lot more serious about how they promote and approach the league. There's no more where you can afford to just have a transition for a whole season and perform poorly for a whole season and think that that's an acceptable standard. You're going to go down if you don't invest right in your league, if you don't invest right in your team, if you don't provide the right infrastructure, if you don't do things correctly, you're not going to be participating at the top tier anymore. And I think that's the best thing that's going to come from it.
Awkward giveaway. Cabral pumps the brakes. He had been in an offside position. Sacco. Ball ricochets high.
Sacco just looking for one pass too many there. I thought when he cut back onto his left foot inside the box, he could have pulled the trigger himself.
Formella, ball bouncing around, turning toward frame, headed away from the line.
It's another great opportunity there for Cabral to get himself on the score sheet. He does well to be patient and cut it back on his right foot, but even when he takes a strike, he doesn't really hit it with much conviction. There's not much power or placement in the strike, and ends up being cleared off the line. Just maybe Cabral's lacking a little bit of confidence in front of goal.
And Matt Mahoney, captain for Colorado Springs, was able to nod that away. Over 200 games in the league, Defensive Player of the Year finalist, arguably his best season a year ago. Corner coming for Hope Avievu. Offers the service, nodded down. Second go at it, perhaps. Avievu, dangerous spot. Cabral couldn't get over it, and Skiers is thinking, if I had just been a little louder and told him I got it.
That's another opportunity there for Cabral. He's had 3 good chances so far since he's come into the game. It only took Margarita 1 to get himself on the score sheet.
By the way, Pro-Rel, to go to this for one more second, the excitement of Wrexham earning successive promotions also comes with Luton Town tasting the very best and potentially about to go down for a second year in a row,
and
right?
I think it keeps everybody excited from the first game to the very last game. You're on the edge of your seat. There's no more middle of the season and then you start becoming focused on the following season. You really have to focus on your team maximizing their performances right to the very last day of the season. Often we find in relegation battles.
Unfortunately, I think I know precisely the manager you bring in to avoid relegation in this league.
No, don't say Sam Allardyce.
I know, I was going to say Anthony Pulis.
But you're also going to see a new approach because now you're going to see teams.
Oh, they're going to allow this to play on. Ball slashed through. Too much on that from Ward.
You're going to see teams trying to get to a certain points threshold as quick as possible to ensure they don't get relegation. I think in the Premier League it used to be 40 points. Once you got to 40 points as quick as possible, you knew you're pretty safe from relegation. So you're going to see that also from teams. They want to start flying. They want to start quick. They want to get through that points threshold and then continue to build from there.
Yeah, 38 games obviously in the Premiership, 30 games now in the USL Championship. You do the math out and maybe we're talking about that 25 to 30 point range being the like for like of it. There's also an element of the very top of the Premiership has gotten to the point where it typically pulls 10, 15 points clear, and there's another couple teams there, and then you get mid-table. And there's also the whole element of, do you do a playoff like they do in Germany? Do you have automatic promotion spot? I mean, there's a ton to be decided about how to actually implement it.
Yeah, I think it's just an exciting revolution of US soccer continuing to develop and grow.
Lifted through. Rakowski really made a meal of that. Well, for Phoenix Rising, They have managed an early barrage from Colorado Springs, grabbed their goal, could easily have 2 or 3. And the Switchbacks are thinking we're still right there, all considered, as Akeem Ward is turned away by Formella. And Zandy got popped, returning from a suspension for a red card a couple games back.
When you're away from home, although it is a home advantage having the fans, when you concede in the 15 minutes, sometimes the atmosphere can change against you. The tide, there's just a feeling inside the stadium when you're playing in front of your home fans and you go down a goal at home. The pressure builds, and sometimes in a negative way where you feel a little bit more forced and rushing decisions because you feel like you need to impress your home fans or you need to be winning the game for your home fans. So right now I feel like the atmosphere is actually playing into Phoenix's favor because the pressure is building up on Colorado Springs from their own fans, demanding more from them to entertain them, to go ahead in the game, to control and dominate the game. And I feel like since the goal, things are kind of turned a little bit. The game's now being controlled and managed a little bit more by Phoenix than it was in the opening 15 minutes of the game.
Formella has literally an acre of space.
And they continue to be dangerous on the transition.
Formella trying to get by Ward with a little push off. Formella, Ward stayed with it all the way.
It's good defending here from Ward. Fortella tries to chop him a couple of times, but on this occasion, stays stellar. Of course, it was a poor piece of defending from Ward that allowed the go-ahead goal for Margarita in the first place, but seems to have pulled himself together since.
This corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. Ovievu coming into the pro game under Pamadou in Dallas. Ball across, open header, and couldn't really square that as intended.
It's a great opportunity. The ball was delivered perfect, and he knows that was a great opportunity there, Scarce. The timing was right. He was in the right place at the right time. He was under no pressure. Just needed to guide the header on target. All the power was coming in from the delivery. He knows that was a great opportunity missed there.
And to be fair, that's exactly the guy who was so, and there was no outward frustration, but you could tell. Was it Cabral who got his head to it and Scarce was running right onto it about 5 minutes ago? This game presented in part by Sunbelt Rentals, local hustle, national muscle. USL Championship on CBS Sports Golazo Network tonight. Phoenix, a goal to the good. The last 2 champions in the championship. Phoenix in penalties over Charleston on the road back in 2023. The late John Stenberg equalizer, down 2-0 in penalties. Remarkable Colorado Springs, a much more comfortable performance at home against Rhode Island back in November. Here comes Endley, puts on the moves. Ball got away, Endley back up with it. Okello couldn't finish the job. Here's Akeem Ward. Ball drifting toward Rakowski.
It's a great delivery there.
As a goalkeeper, that's probably a nightmarish position to drop that service.
For the goalkeepers and the defenders, the goalkeeper has to come out, and it's in an area where there's always uncertainty between the goalkeeper and the defenders. The defenders, do they drop and clear it away, or does the goalkeeper come and smash it out? On this occasion, great decision there from Rakowski.
This corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. Service across toward Dillon. 2 rows deep.
Phoenix will definitely need another goal to give them some breathing space. Colorado continue to create dangerous attacks, and we've seen Phoenix Rising have continued to be dangerous on the counter-attack. They just haven't had that same clinicality and quality that they had in that opening goal opportunity, but on the counter-attack, they've continued to be extremely threatening.
Dylan. Ooh, Endley. He's got a little sizzle in his game tonight, though he's overtaken in that instance by Montgomery.
Montgomery does well to recover there, but as we said, as a young player, it's a great matchup for him to learn about positioning and anticipation and awareness. He's not going to be able to beat Endley for speed, so he has to use his mind more so than relying on any kind of physicality.
Squared up the gut. Doesn't look much prettier than that coming out of the back. Sacco. Just a hair too much for Formella to deal with. Pitchforked up to Lacroix. 11th year pro, Haitian international into Hanya. Stabbed away by Smith, who's been up to it tonight.
Good defending there from Smith. And here we see that danger on the counter-attack again.
Formella playing early. Sacco. Support in the middle. Sacco head up. Lifts. Formella. Tried to give it back to Okello. That was playing with your food.
Yeah, Formella had so much time there. He didn't need to play that one touch. He actually played into the defender's hands by playing it one touch. If he takes it down, he has the time to get the shot off himself, or he attracts the pressure from the defender and then finds a teammate in space. Just those choices in the attacking third really make a big difference. That's the difference between getting a shot off and testing the goalkeeper, and now you're playing with the ball again deep in your own half.
Well, how many times is that 50-yard diagonal going to be that available?
Yeah, Formella's found himself peeling off into space a few times in this first half, and of course Saka, we continue to mention his name on this right-hand side also. Phoenix Rising having a lot of success on the counter-attack in the wide areas. But I think it's almost certain to guarantee there's going to be more goals in this game. Phoenix Rising need a goal, obviously, to give them just a little bit of breathing space. And for Colorado Springs, of course, they're in as much of a need of a win as Phoenix in front of their home fans, where they have the advantage, where you're expected to take the 3 points, especially as current champions. The expectancy is also almost always to win your home games and try to take a point on the road. I think a win for either of these teams will do wonders for their confidence going forward.
Identical records, a win, 3 losses, 3 draws through 7. This game acts as the quarter pole of the season for each.
Colorado have conceded 14 goals. Phoenix have conceded 16 goals. And both of these teams have big upcoming midweek games, which it was interesting to hear James Chambers say we haven't mentioned the midweek game once. I think it's important that they focus on exactly what's in front of them. The next game, they only have 1 win so far this season. So to be thinking ahead to the next game instead of focusing on getting themselves 3 points tonight, I think would be the wrong approach. I think thinking about the next 45 minutes that they have is the best way to go about things.
Working through off the right side, clips off the heel. Hanya. Ton of English on it, comes back to Fontana. And this, a foul and a free kick. That's Formella.
Again, it's a number of times he's given away cheap free kicks. He's facing away from goal. There's absolutely no threat here. You don't need to bite at the ball and give away a dangerous free kick with just 3 minutes to go before halftime. Of course, you can see he acknowledges it here. He puts his hand up, but he has to show a little bit more experience here at this phase of the closing phases of the first half.
This free kick scoring opportunity is brought to you by Underline. delivering gigabit fiber internet. Underline.com/COS.
When your team's been struggling to keep clean sheets, not giving away cheap free kicks is a must. Of course, you reward the enthusiasm to get back and defend and help your team, but you have to defend smart also.
Micheletto. Senge got up to take a piece of it and hoofed out toward the halfway line. Select, proud to be the official match ball supplier, the USL Championship from Academy to the big leagues. Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. By the way, you mentioned big games coming up. Phoenix will see the 2023 Open Cup champion Houston on Wednesday night on CBS Sports Network in the Open Cup at home. Colorado Springs, to your earlier point, meet New York Red Bulls, the MLS Cup runner-up last year, here in Colorado Springs on Tuesday night on Paramount Plus. Zandy.
And that's why I feel like tonight is an important game for both of these teams. You're coming up against MLS opponents midweek. You're not going to have, you're not going to be having a feeling of success if you go into that game only having one game, only won one game for the season, and you're going into that game off the back of a loss. So getting a momentum win tonight, getting 3 points tonight, getting another win tonight, changes the mindset, changes the energy, changes the confidence of the players going into that game in midweek. So tonight is the most important game for both of these teams, and this should be their only focus right now.
Corner kick presented by the McDivitt Law Firm. We are in your corner. By the way, Red Bull coming off a 4-1 loss tonight with goals from Luis Suarez and Leo Messi, the hands of Inter Miami and Fort Lauderdale. There was a yellow card issued to Avievu at the end of that. Short corner. This is off the training ground. Zandy, and they'll leave that on the training ground. Scoops upfield. Dylan running like he's mad at the Corconuts turf. Squares on the paint and stays. Stoppage time presented by the TikTok Shop. Zandy, ball laced back the other side, and they're unable to get the ball back into the middle through Dylan.
Coming into halftime, Pamadou Kaba will be happy with his team's performance in the opening 45 minutes. They weathered the storm for the first 10. They got themselves the go-ahead goal, and things have leveled themselves out in this game so far since. Sometimes when you're away from home, it's maybe not about entertaining the away fans, especially when you've been on a run when you haven't picked up about wins. Sometimes it's just about finding a way to win the game. And I think that's what they've got to continue to do in the second half. It may not be pretty, it may not be expansive, it may not be entertaining, but they need to find a way to pick up 3 points away from home at a very difficult Colorado Springs stadium. Not to mention the existing champions.
That is a potential head injury that causes a stoppage in play. And that is Hope Avievu. Loved chatting with him last month in San Antonio. There's a look at that sort of collision of heads. You have Avievu attended to by the athletic training staff. It's worth noting Gerald Margarita came off in the 11th minute, but should Avievu not be able to continue for whatever reason because the play was stopped for potential head injury, it likely would not result in a usage of the second substitution window. But hopefully the fact he's up now is a good sign.
Yeah, and it's important to mention that they had to use one moment in the first half that they probably did not want to use. So going into the second half, they have to manage the situation differently, knowing that they only have 2 moments for substitutions.
So Avievu being looked at. Came up in Dallas, came over for the Dallas Cup. It was his first time that he had ever left his home country of Ghana. Said everything totally different. He goes to Dallas Cup, so many big clubs taking part. His first year, he said, was a hard adaptation, but his second year was with Pamadou Ka. Said I put everything I learned that first year into the second. Said maybe one of my best, if not the best, season of my pro career to this point. Ends up in Los Angeles, and you want to talk about a young player getting the chance to see and be around one of his idols, Joseph Paintsill, great Ghanaian footballer, featuring at Galaxy, and said just being around him made me feel like I was home for a little while. Now here in Phoenix, they love what he's brought.
And of course, he has a lot of good mentors. In Phoenix, we caught a glimpse there of Phoenix Rising legend Darnell King, who's also on the staff.
Well, when he's not playing these days, he was on that 25-day contract with all the injuries about a month ago.
And I also saw him putting his boots in training and lacing them up, showing the boys how to finish.
He's looking good. This overcooked for Micheletto.
I think the boys under a little pressure when your head coach and your assistant coach start talking about coming out of retirement.
Yeah, it was funny. We were chatting with Pamadou Khan. Goes, so what's the injury situation? He said, I'm thinking about coming out of retirement. I think everyone chortled a little bit.
I think the goals conceded would definitely change a little bit if he were to come out of retirement.
Yep.
Both were stellar defenders in their day, and I think it will hurt them to see the number of goals they conceded, but I'm sure it's something that's being addressed consistently throughout the course of the week in practice.
This corner brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. We've been kicking it for local businesses since 1957. We have gone way past the 3 minutes, but there was the stoppage for the head injury. They'll allow this to play out. Ooh, Senge, are they going to give this corner? Yeah, they're going to give enough time to take it.
He had enough time there where he didn't necessarily need to swipe it like that, but he's given Colorado Springs a great opportunity in the dying seconds of the first half to have one more attack on goal.
This ball corner kick cannot go back. This corner is brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. A little bit of window dressing. Bounces through over Mahoney. Lacroix sent that ball into the stands and sends us to halftime.
I think it's a 45 minutes that Pamadou Khan will be happy with, but they'll be looking at ways of improvement. Possessing the ball a little bit more, closing down a little bit more pressure in and around the edge of the box. As we see, another shot under no pressure is struck poorly, but it's a great opportunity again for Colorado Springs. And then maybe being a little bit more clinical themselves with the opportunities they had. They've been fantastic on the counter-attack. Cabral's had 3 or 4 opportunities since he's come into the game. Have to be a little bit more clinical to put this game to bed for Colorado Springs. I think we see a completely different second half from them.
It is Phoenix with the lead going into the break tonight. A great start from the Switchbacks, but it doesn't hold as Gerald Margarita gets his 3rd goal. He'd come off with an injury, but leaves with the only marker tonight. Tonight's game presented by Sunbelt Rentals. Halftime is coming up.
Injured in a crash? Get McDivitt and you get a firm dedicated to every single detail of your case.
We have the knowledge and resources to investigate the crash and your insurance company's small print.
Details matter. That's why we dive deep into every aspect of your case. This gives us the firepower we need to make the insurance company pay you the money you deserve.
We never ask you to pay a penny until we get you max money for your injuries.
Online at McDivittLaw.com.
McDivitt.
The moment you call McDivitt, an action plan is put into place right away to get you the help you need.
Each case and each client is different, with different needs and solutions. Your attorney and team immediately investigates every aspect of your crash and injuries.
We track down all the paperwork and deal directly with the insurance company for you.
We keep you in the loop every step of the way, fighting to get you max money for your injuries.
And you never pay us a dime until we get money for you.
McDivitt.
When I came back from the war, I was barely hanging on by a thread. I'm here today because of Tanya's relentless efforts in trying to get me healed. And says, Michael, I know you've got a plan to take your life today, but if you give me just 5 more minutes to love you.
5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, honey, 5 more minutes to love.
Michael has actually taught me what it looks like to accept help.
Welcome back. It is halftime here in Colorado Springs. Tonight's broadcast presented by Sunbelt Rentals. Phoenix Rising, a 1-0 lead over Colorado Springs. Plenty of fans here downtown tonight. How about we tell you about tonight's honorary healthcare professional of the match? It's Dr. Scott Swenson. He's a gastroenterologist, associate in gastroenterology. Thank you to Dr. Swenson for all you've done to help our community. The healthcare professional of the match is sponsored by Olson Plumbing and Heating. Hopefully excited about a big matchup just a few days away. One of the biggest games in Widener Field history. And while Phoenix leads this game right now, the Switchbacks 45 minutes to change the narrative tonight, and certainly 90 minutes on Tuesday to try and change the narrative for good. Well, it's a complicated long-term relationship for the Switchbacks in the Open Cup, but if they get a win over Red Bull, you know for sure it is their biggest victory in their time in America's Cup. You'll see that game Tuesday on Paramount+. As for this game on Golazo, Phoenix leads 1-0. Halftime presented by Sunbelt Rentals.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a load off it. Take a load for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was
Put the load right on me.
totally worth it. Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
Pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Oh, look at that! And listen to the crowd! The goal coming through! Oh, Sacramento is taking the lead. Take a load off it. Take a load for free.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing.
Put the load
And it was kinda everything. Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
The USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. Back at Widener Field in Colorado Springs, take a look at news and notes from around the USL Championship and beyond. 12 championship teams are taking part in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup's round of 32. 7 will be hosting MLS sides. Meanwhile, Birmingham has their new head coach. Tommy Sohn, the second longest tenured in the league, out Mark Briggs, who led Sacramento to the 22 Open Cup final in Sacramento, is in. Well, Rhode Island welcomed a sellout crowd, but serenaded them with a 0-0 draw at Centerville Bank Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Show you some of the scores here on Saturday. Already final. It was Tampa Bay and Birmingham in an incredible game. Pacific Neon Gabire at 90+3, equalizing for the Rowdies after Birmingham had come from a goal down in the second half to lead. Hartford scored 5 minutes in, but ends up taking nothing. They're now 0-7 all-time in Charleston. Juan David Torres, 2 goals and an assist in that game. Indy and Detroit finish all square. North Carolina goes to Highmark and grabs a 2-0 victory. And then there is one game ongoing in the championship to keep an eye on right now as New Mexico United trails El Paso. Another goal for Wilmer Cabrera Jr. Andy Cabrera bags one in the 12th, and the Locomotive are ahead at home against New Mexico. May the 3rd be with you. There wasn't a game on the 4th, so lightsabers, you know what it is. Phoenix up 1-0 on Colorado Springs. Halftime is presented by Sunbelt Rentals. We'll look at the goal that was when we come back.
Injured in a crash? Get McDivitt and you get a firm dedicated to every single detail of your case.
We have the knowledge and resources to investigate the crash and your insurance company's small print.
Details matter. That's why we dive deep into every aspect of your case. This gives us the firepower we need to make the insurance company pay you the money you deserve.
We never ask you to pay a penny until we get you max money for your injuries.
Online at McDivittLaw.com.
McDivitt.
The moment you call McDivitt, an action plan is put into place right away to get you the help you need.
Each case and each client is different, with different needs and solutions. Your attorney and team immediately investigates every aspect of your crash and injuries.
We track down all the paperwork and deal directly with the insurance company for you.
We keep you in the loop every step of the way, fighting to get you max money for your injuries.
And you never pay us a dime until we get money for you.
McDivitt.
The bravest person I know is my daughter, Cynthia.
My friend Sean, and he was in the Air Force.
One of the bravest things he ever did wasn't when he first enlisted, it was when he found his first support group.
It was when he asked to move in with me and my mom.
I felt like I was lost, and you gave me a place to stay.
She went on foreign soil. She went to war. But the bravest thing she did is when she asked for help.
The PTSD, depression, anxiety. I needed somebody to sit on my side of the table. Bree made that happen for me. KOAA, Channel 5, they care about the military, they care about the veterans. I've never seen this kind of care in my 80 years. Thank goodness for Bree helping me out. God put an angel in my life, and it just touched me so much.
This week on USL All Access, we talk the big winners from Week 1 of Jägermeister Cup. We're also going to preview Sunday's nationally televised match between Oakland Roots and Sacramento Republic on CBS Sports Network. Liam O'Connell, Technical Director of USL Men's Pathway, joins us to talk the structural changes that have taken place at the youth level and how they're for the greater good of development in this country.
Back in Colorado Springs, it has been a picturesque night here alongside Pikes Peak. Phoenix, however, the side with the lead, the Valley of the Sun, high in the Rocky Mountains, have shown no ill effect. Let's show you first half highlights, and not a bad start from Colorado Springs at all. Good save by Rakowski.
Colorado Springs started extremely brightly in the opening 10 minutes. They had a number of chances, a good volley here, Hanya with the follow-up, but they were just unable to convert any of those early chances, and look what happened next.
In the 11th minute of play, awkward for Akeem Ward, taken away by Sacco and cashed in by Margarita.
It's a poor mistake here from Ward, gets caught under pressure, and Saka has been pretty intense closing down for the whole game. This pass is absolutely quality. Margarita does exceptionally well with his first touch, gives the goalkeeper no chance of his second touch, burying it into the top right-hand corner of the goal.
Margarita would have to come off moments later. Skip ahead to the 29th minute. Could have, should have been another.
Cabral had a number of chances, but he's just not hit the ball with any conviction since he's come on. A couple of good strikes, but maybe a player who's lacking a little bit of confidence. You'd expect him to do better with the effort. Cleared off the line.
And take a look at the halftime stats, and it shows, at least statistically, pretty even game. What do you think?
Yeah, it's been even for possession, even for shots. And as we spoke about prior to this game, both teams are pretty fairly matched. Both were sitting in the bottom of the table at the beginning of the night, and right now, this has pushed Phoenix Rising up to 6th.
And they turn the lights off. We mentioned, of course, May the 3rd. Doesn't mean it's not a good time for, I can call them lightsabers. I think they've just been called light sticks. I don't know if you're much of a Star Wars fan.
You've gone over my head with this one. I'm not sure what's going on out there.
Well, this looks like real galactic battle going on out there. If there are this many, at least they're all green, no reds. That'd be a much bigger concern. Well, Colorado Springs is going to need to be prepared to fight, or they may find themselves in a galaxy far, far away at the bottom of the Western Conference. Always quite the festive atmosphere here. The light shows, the fireworks throughout the year. They've got some great concerts that roll through town here. And of course, thankfully, not the most dangerous weapons being handed out today. Let's get into the second half. Phoenix with a 1-goal lead on Colorado Springs.
Let's hope Colorado Springs can turn this result around whenever they start throwing them swords at them on the pitch.
I think you've got good Han Solo vibes. I mean that in the best way. Unfortunately, I'm at best Chewbacca. I've lost you, haven't I? Or I've lost the plot.
Way past me. I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah. Picked up by Patrick Rakowski. So if you're Phoenix, you said going into the locker room that Pamadou Ka probably walks away the happier of the two coaches, not just for the lead, but in how they withstood that early flurry and then got on with it.
Yeah, but I think he'll know fully well 1 goal is not enough to sit on. Both these teams have given up a number of goals, so he knows, knowing his own defense, they're going to need more than 1 goal to secure the victory. And obviously, Colorado Springs are going to come out guns blazing in front of the home fans in the second 45 minutes to get themselves not just the equalizing goal, but they're going to be going for all 3 points in the second half.
Conversely, Colorado Springs had scored in the first half of 6 consecutive games, and that streak ends here tonight. Ultimately, they've only got 1 win to show for it, so maybe one streak leads to another.
I think Colorado Springs have been extremely vulnerable on the counter-attack tonight. It is one of the strengths of Phoenix Rising, their ability to counter-attack teams well.
Yeah, you do have to wonder. That was something James Chambers was very apparent about. The front four is the strength of the team, the majority of the goals in transition moments. Well, that's one way to muck the game up a little bit. Yosuke Hanya running through the back of Smith.
And although the goal was scored in transition, it was a pretty poor piece of defending from Ward that cost the turn away in possession.
Smith has had a fairly good night. Played for Pamadou Ka at North Texas in 2022. Finished the year with Rhode Island, and so was a part of the Eastern Conference champions' defeat here in the final to Colorado Springs back in November. Avievu over the ball. Lofting over Asenge. Isn't the only target. Skiers too. Not to be. Ward. Pressure constricting and comes out to Montgomery. I don't know if this is apparent or not, but soccer season is here. And SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner for the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Asenge, newcomer on loan from Galaxy. That overcooked. Asenge, by the way, signed a new 2-year deal back in January with Galaxy, including 2 years option that could see him tied to LA through 2028. Has spent parts of the last 4 years at Galaxy too. And we're starting to see this quite a bit, where that pipeline into MLS Next Pro just sort of breaks off a little bit. And some guys, I think in baseball you'd call it the quad A player, above AAA, but you haven't quite seen MLB yet.
Yeah, I think if you look at his physical profile, he's just 22 years old. So he has a lot of attributes in his favor as a defender, and experience, as you know, in defense is one of the most valuable things that you have. Experience, games, so you can have an understanding, you can lead the line in front of you, you can have a good anticipation of how circumstances are going to unfold. So I think having a number of games with LA Galaxy 2 and the experience that he's had so far in this game, and he's going to continue to have in the USL Championship, he's obviously a player that they see being very valuable in the future, and that's why they've invested in such a long-term contract with him.
And then he gets to go up against the guy who, in the early days of Galaxy 2, when they were one of the better teams in the championship, Justin Dillon, gets one of the more physical players in the league up front to battle against in his first game in USL.
And look, for 50 minutes so far in this game, Phoenix Rising have done well. They've kept a clean sheet. The goal is, can they keep a clean sheet for 90 minutes? And again, keeping a clean sheet for 90 minutes against Colorado away from home, there's a lot more to that story than just what the statistic would tell. It's one of the hardest places to play. You're playing against the existing champions. You're playing away from home. So there'll be a lot of value and confidence they will be able to build if they're able to sustain that. But it's all about whether all 11 players on the pitch are bought into that goal of getting that clean sheet tonight.
Here's Fontana. Still really getting up to speed. Hasn't played a ton of minutes the last couple of years. Tusala, Mahoney, Ward, Endely. Yevu got a piece.
On top of that, I don't believe anybody has been able to stop Colorado Springs from getting on the score sheet so far this season.
Diving header on the service from Fontana, and Dillon shed his mark. Diving header is askew.
I think that's right. You can cross-check me, but I don't think any team so far this season has been able to stop Colorado Springs from getting on the score sheet. So we are potentially looking at one of the best attacks in both conferences.
No team had gotten through 45 minutes without conceding to Colorado Springs until this point.
So there's already some small wins that Phoenix Rising can take from the first half in this game. Whether it was poor finishing or good defending, that's debatable, but 52 minutes in, and Phoenix have the clean sheet right now.
Corner kick brought to you by the McDivitt Law Firm. We are in your corner. Yeah, due respect, this isn't holding a clean sheet against Hartford or Rhode Island, where they've got 5 goals or fewer coming into the game. Las Vegas, for that matter. This is one of the top 5 scoring teams in the league. A little chat here between Yar and Navayevu, while Asenge and Matthew Corrigan are in between Ward.
Referee's looking directly at them like, It's probably not the time to be argy-bargy when the referee's got his eyes directly on you.
Ball through, Asenge, he did get up for it. There was a huge height disparity there. Asenge is not a small dude.
You'd envision they'd put somebody of a similar stature to mark him from set pieces. It didn't even feel like he was challenged from the header. He probably should have done a lot better given that he wasn't under any pressure.
Zandy. Romero. And carried forward by Mahoney. Nicoletto, now Andeli. Nicoletto had come free, but no way to slip that through a trio of Phoenix players. Andeli, a little space to run into here. Andeli slips through. Dylan. I'm going to assume he knew he was offside.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe he knew he was offside, but Andeli had way too much space to drive into there before anybody challenged him and put him under pressure. They'd done a good job of shutting him down earlier. They were getting 3 players around him and just forcing him to play backwards, but the space completely opened up for him there. Whether he had the time and space to continue to drive and take a shot himself, Dylan made the run in behind, which created a little bit more space for him to go forward, but they have to do a good job, a better job of closing that space in front of the defensive line. Andeli's continued to be a threat in the attack for Colorado throughout this whole game so far. He's probably been one of their most dangerous attackers, if not the most dangerous attacker for them.
The referee instantly pointed to his watch and said this time's going to get added. Patrick Rakowski is being looked at here. We talk about the idea of 2 number 1s on the other end. In the case of Rakowski, who's not injured enough to not take the extra half yard.
Oh, and on top of that, as you spoke about, 2 number 1s, you don't want to give up your shirt to the other number 1, because if he goes in there and has a stellar performance, it can be a long time before you get your shirt back.
Yep.
With goalkeepers, it can be like that. You can be sitting for a really long time if you become the number 2. So unless it's something that he really can't continue with, I don't think we're going to see him volunteering to come off the field.
No, he's only started 3 games the last 2 years because Rocco Rios Novo has held the shirt. They brought in Tristan Henry as well, who's probably best known as a pro for his time at Forge FC, which is, dare I say, the dynastic power of the Canadian Premier League. But you've got a guy who's won multiple trophies up in Canada, and then you've got the USL Championship winner, Murkowski. 2 championship caliber keepers, at least, as Rakowski will walk this back. There's Hanya. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus live matches, USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app.
Great pressure there from Phoenix Rising in the center of the park to win possession of the ball. I think Saka's run forward was just a little bit too early there. Cabral played him behind, but he was offside.
Lee came inside for it. Now he's got it. Nicoletto spots the run, pouring forward from Lacroix. Now Hanya. Hanya slides inside, cutback ball, aimed in front and knocked in. Anthony Fontana. His first goal for Colorado Springs.
It's a great finish from the edge of the box, but here Hanya just in way too much time and space. Takes too long out. It's Asenge who gets out and gets beat pretty easily. And in the finish, cool, calm, composed, slots it into the side netting. Gives the goalkeeper no chance whatsoever, Rakowski. But you feel like it all started with Hanya having that time and space in the edge of the box to open his hips. He then beats Asenge, drives forward. Fontana finishes the play with finesse.
And that is a long, long awaited goal for one of the most celebrated young prospects for Philadelphia Union 7-8 years ago. Got the big transfer over to Europe, and his career stalled. Said James Chambers, his captain back at Bethlehem Steel when he was first coming into the pro game, been there at every low of his career. So the chance to play for him now as a manager, appealing. So he was just hungry to get on the field again. He comes off having scored his first goal of the season. Formella, so much for clean sheets tonight. I suppose you and I saw this coming.
We knew that the next goal was going to be important, and we said Phoenix Rising would need more than one goal to secure the victory night. That both of these teams have conceded multiple goals consistently this season. It was just a little bit disappointing how the goal came around. That time and space on the edge of the box there for Hanya is such a dangerous area to allow him to receive and face forward. You'd envision somebody marking him a little tighter, a little closer when he receives that ball, but he had way too much time. By the time Asenge gets out to commit, he drops the shoulder, beats him easily, drives into the box. And then the finish was absolutely class in the end there from Fontana.
The substitution brought to you by UCCS, where business careers start. Ball popping in and will slip out over the line. Switchbacks goals are presented by Gold Hill. Gold Hill, the best address. Juan Tejada came on. Is there any more adept scorer off the bench than Juan Tejada? Started in the final, an MVP performance back in November. Corner kick brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. They'll invest in the short corner here.
I thought the defensive line for Phoenix had done well so far in the game, but I think the issue is the distances and the spacing between the defense and the midfield. As you see for the goal, Asenge has good starting position, but then he's the one who leaves the defensive line to come out and pressure Hanya. Hanya drops the shoulder and goes in behind him, and that's where all the problems start. I feel like there should have been a midfielder somewhere in and around that position where Hanya was sitting to be able to take responsibility, and Asenge essentially be able to hold his position rather than getting sucked out into the space, and then it was a free-for-all after that point.
Endley forward, brought down by Dillon. Kwa got stood up. Comes to Tejada. Way by Akello. A little bit of housekeeping on Fontana. Did score in the Open Cup against Knoxville. The extra time win. That was his first goal since tallying for Ascoli in the Italian lower divisions in Coppa Italia back in 2022. It is his first league goal of any kind since 2020. He scored in back-to-back games for the Union. Formella at the flex off Mahoney gets out for a corner. It is his first goal in the championship since he was part of Philadelphia Union 2 back in July of 2018. Here's Formella's chance.
He does well. He's got the defender backpedaling. I'm not sure the angle was ever there to open his hips and bend it into the far corner, but he has continued to be threatening. I feel like now, when you look back at some of those half chances that Cabral had in the first half, if he was able to bury one of those, I think this game looks completely different, but the one-goal margin is never going to be enough.
And now let's see if Phoenix can restore that lead. Corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner. Avievu, that's a big bump into Asenge. Disrupted his jump. Avievu trots inside, sends it high, looking for the flick on from Asenge. a big ask for Endley off the left. Think about the number of players who said, James Chambers, there's so many guys from the Philadelphia area. Fontana, of course, scoring tonight, but Zach Zandy in the middle of midfield has seen a revival in his career here after so many injuries. Here's Endley. Hamadou Ka, first job, North Texas, as this goes all the way through. And here comes Remy Cabral. Cabral full speed, off the mark at the end. Romero made himself as big as he could, and Cabral knows he should have done better. It just never slipped inside the post.
He's done absolutely everything spot on here, apart from the finish. He has to hit the target there. He's beat the two defenders. His first touch has settled it down. He's still got time to pick his corner here. And he's hit it wide of the target, as we spoke about. Is a continuation of the chances they had in the first half, where sometimes you know when a striker's lacking a little bit of confidence, and that should be Cabral's bread and butter there. You're not going to get much more cleaner opportunity to score than that. And what a fantastic chance to give his team the 2-1 lead.
And then Juan Tejada goes down here.
Evidently, if you don't take opportunities like the one that Cabral just had, it's going to come back to bite you in the face at some point throughout the course of the game.
Carl Saint coming in.
Strong tackle, and I imagine it's probably a little bit of frustration that they're not 2-1 in the lead right now. You see how hard your team is working, and a fantastic opportunity to take the lead.
Free kick scoring opportunity brought to you by Underline, delivering gigabit fiber internet. Go to underline.com/COS.
I think the positive thing is Cabral is getting the opportunities. He's in the right spaces. He's in the right areas. He's in the right place at the right time. But the confidence or the quality to finish needs to increase a little bit.
Ball across, and the header's clearly not what Dylan was looking for. Micheletto put it right on him. There's another goal in this game, isn't there? You can feel it. It's just too many chances. I take from your silence the lack of finishing may have you, at least for a moment, taking pause at that.
I'm still a little bit shocked that there's not 2-1 Phoenix right now.
I think both these fan bases are probably nodding in agreement in some form or fashion.
Away from home, I don't think you can afford to squander opportunities like that.
Well, maybe there's something here. Sacco. That's Cabral in the middle. Sacco.
It's not a bad attempt. Dipping short of his left foot from distance.
If you weren't as lucky as Chris Nurse and got to live your dream, you have to do so vicariously. A reminder that eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball, free to play. So download now.
Who's your eFootball team?
I have no bias. I am unbiased. Tejada. Endley. Oh, wow. Left Montgomery in the dust. And vital from Avievu to come fill that space.
Endley is a joy to watch in possession of the ball. He just glides past people, such a low center of gravity. He just dips his shoulder. He goes one way, goes the other. It's a rough night from Montgomery, but it's definitely one that he'll learn and be better from as he goes forward.
Academy since 12 years old. He's still committed to play at NIU. He's really wanted to see his college education occur in person. But Hamadou Ka bring him into the first team. Long ball coming out of that scrum in the middle. Ward playing it ahead. Enderley, cut back, sends to the near post. Snagged by Rakowski. To follow there on Montgomery, by the way. It was Pamadou Ka seeing him in an academy game earlier this year. He said he must be in the first team, and they've needed him.
Yeah, and I think Pamadou Ka has been consistent in giving opportunities to the young players, not just because I think he gives opportunities to the young players who deserve it, who are ready for it, and he feels like can benefit from the exposure and continue to grow and advance and obviously help the organization. I think you have to have that pipeline of young players and opportunities, otherwise they'll never believe, and essentially the academy just becomes a waste of time if players through the academy don't get opportunities to make the first team. I think it's the job of the coaches in the academy to prepare those players, and then the head coach has to pick the right moments to expose them. Obviously, if you expose them too early when they're not ready, it can have a counterproductive impact on their development and their growth. But clearly he's taking his time, he's thoughtful, and he's giving them exposure at the right moments at the right time.
That's just a little bit loose from Enderley. It doesn't hurt that Pamadou Ka came into the pro game as a coach. Vancouver, which has a pretty notable residency program, and then at FC Dallas, which pumps out more homegrowns than anybody. Injured player down, and this is going to cause the referee to stop play and wave on the athletic training staff. And Smith is the one who's on the ground. It is a thin bench. No Popmar boy. Jamison Ping has been playing a bit in midfield, not a part of it tonight. This injury stoppage is brought to you by Common Spirit Health. Enderley coming off. It felt like he was really finding his stride, but 70 harder minutes for Enderley. He's done. Here comes Jonas Fjellberg. His 5th appearance, 4th off the bench this year. Acquired in a straight-up swap for Maka King a season ago.
A player with a lot of ability on the ball. I think you'll see shortly as he gets into the game that you have a couple players coming onto this pitch in Tejeda and Fjellberg who could be starters at many USL Championship teams right now, and I think that speaks to the depth that Colorado Springs have at their availability, that they're able to bring these caliber and strength of players onto the field in the 70th minute.
You'll look down the bench tonight for Phoenix, by the way, and you have Alex Araneta, 22-year-old center back, trialed in preseason for Phoenix and signed in February, yet to debut. And in terms of defined defenders, that's it. So should Smith not be able to continue, you're gonna have to figure something out. Formella.
I think both of these head coaches have spoken about being littered with a number of injuries in the early season and not being able to potentially have their best rosters out, or even to be able to have as much consistency as they would like in their rosters from game to game. They've kind of just had to be winging it until the point that they get a number of healthy players back, and then they can have a period where they can field their best rosters consistently.
And the teams that host home games in November, some of them are the lucky ones that don't face the injuries. The rest are the ones that battle through these moments, find a way to accumulate points.
I think with Colorado Springs, as we just spoke about, the depth in their roster is one of their strengths, and I think all the top teams, they know how grueling the season can be. Open Cup, regular season, Jägermeister Cup. If you're a top team, you're going deep into all of these cup competitions also, which means you're playing a much larger number of games than some of the lesser talented teams. So you have to have that depth in your roster to give yourself the best chance, because if you're especially an intense pressing team, you're probably going to break a few to make a few. Your training sessions are going to be intense. You're going to have the same intensity in games, so it's always going to physically take a toll on the players' bodies, and you have to have the depth in the roster to be able to counteract that.
Ball pitchforked ahead. Scarce took a deflection and meets Romero.
think it was Micheletto there who was able to stay with the runner and just put enough pressure on Scarce to not allow him to get a free shot off. It's brilliant defending there from Micheletto.
Right place, right time. Powering forward. The denial. Hurman came in for Colorado Springs. Placed Hanya sub a moment ago. So that was part of their second sub window. To your point, 30 regular season, 4 games in Jägermeister Cup, which replaced what used to be regular season games. You hope you have a chance at a knockout game or 2 there. Open Cup, you see both these teams will play at least 2, but could very well play 3 or 4. Then the playoffs, you hope there are 4 there. You could be playing 42, 44, 45 games real fast.
And especially when it becomes weekend, midweek. That's normally where the accumulation of injuries start to creep up a little bit.
Ward crossing, that touched away. Micheletto, appeal there, continues. Fjellberg a second time, lashing across the face of goal.
Definitely looked like there was a little hand action in the box there. A little bit of thigh hand. Fjellberg gets his shot blocked, gets a second bite with his left foot. Just slices it wide of the post.
"15 minutes to play here in Colorado Springs. The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day, including this game, the CBS Sports Golazo Network, and also see games on ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Tomorrow on CBS Sports Network, weekend concludes with Oakland and Sacramento, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on CBS Sports Network from the venerable Oakland Coliseum. Told there will be hundreds of fans taking the Amtrak from Sacramento up to Oakland for that game. One of the closest knit rivalries in distance in all of American soccer. Certainly when not those inner city derbies. Ball through now. Is this the go-ahead? Sacco rings the post as harshly as he can, but the flag is up. It's offside. It was never going to count.
It's great play from Cabral here to create this opportunity. Again, he weaves his way through traffic here. The awareness to know where Saka is. It's a great through ball. If Saka is just able to hold his run a little bit more, maybe he has a better chance of converting. But great play from Cabral here to create this opportunity. It wouldn't have gone in anyway. Phoenix be kicking themselves, but they're still banging at the door, still in the game, still trying to get that go-ahead goal.
And suddenly, Widener Field's got a little energy too. You can feel that. That ball knocked away by Asenge. Avievu came off. A spot of good news to see Darius Johnson get into the game. Sub brought to you by UCCS. Whoa! Awkward off of Okello. The clearance from Montgomery hitting Okello, ricocheting out over the line for a corner.
Oof. Could have gone anywhere.
Beg your pardon, I think that may have been 6, not 8. I think my eyes deceived me there. That may have been Saint, the center back. By any measure, nervy. Corner brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Service across, that's dealt with. Sacco tracks it down.
I think you can always guarantee when you're coming up against these two teams, it's always going to be an entertaining game. Colorado Springs 14 shots, Phoenix Rising 13 shots. Not for the light-hearted.
No, we didn't get cheated tonight.
It's definitely not going to be a chess match.
It's a different game where a coach said this to me recently, but We don't care what they do. They don't care what we do. We're going to get after it. And I very much feel this matchup has elements of that. This is 19 meetings all time. 9-7-2 in all competitions. About as close as you can get. Colorado Springs, the slight edge. Games here, 5-3 in favor of the home side all time. So the good news is we haven't seen any draws, not yet. And down goes Sacco. He's done a good job assimilating off to the right-hand side after the early substitution saw Margarita off.
Dangerous free kick area here.
And unlike some of the free kicks we've seen for the Formella's given, he's going to goal. You can understand why you want to stem that off, as opposed to some of the dangerous free kicks we've seen on the other end.
Smart foul, but don't envision him going for goal from here. He'd be looking to deliver this onto the head of one of his teammates inside the box. Maybe about 30 yards outside.
Darius Johnson hangs that up, nothing doing. Darius Johnson, there's a great Vice article about him that is unbelievable. 25 years old from London. The guy, well, we'll get to it in a moment. Here's Formella. Through now, Formella. Formella breaks through! Formella was trying to beat it over the shoulder of Romero and lifted it into the stands. Forget the article, the game's too good. 10 minutes to go.
It's another great chance here from Formella. The ball that he gets given back here is pretty hard to deal with, but he does well. He creates the space for the shot, but just doesn't get his head over the ball, doesn't get any power in it. Just skies it over the crossbar.
Can he make the catch?
If he's able to get it on target with a fantastic finish, but he's had a couple of opportunities from those angles tonight for Miller.
Well, we're getting to the point where just one would be enough.
For all the opportunities that Phoenix have created.
Bad giveaway right up the middle. Zandy. He had tunnel vision once he took a hold of that.
It's good defending there from Asenga, I think, with the block.
Ball through, never got to Dylan.
Asenga again reading it, intercepting, breaking up play. Just need to keep his team in possession there. Did everything else right.
Lest we forget, Mahoney off a deflection, knotted a ball off the line in the first half. It could have been 2-0. Colorado Springs equalizing at 58. Anthony Fontana after the 11th minute goal from Margarita. Here comes Colorado Springs.
You just sense that Phoenix are lacking that Markanich. That player who in front of goal is just devastating. You give him half an inch and he's gonna finish the opportunity. They're creating opportunities, and of course they're one of the league's leading teams in goals scored so far. But you're just looking for that individual player, that striker who's going to get you 30 goals this year, and I haven't seen that individual out there tonight.
And they've had him before. Danny Trejo had 19. Junior Flemings had 14. There were years in which they had multiple guys knocking on the 20 goal contribution mark. I mean, this was like the greatest show on turf for a number of seasons.
With the chances they had tonight, if you have that guy, maybe they're 3-1 in the lead right now, because they've created some fantastic chances.
And like Solomon Asante wasn't a 9, so to speak, but the guy had 22 goals in a season. He did everything.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's why the goal scorers get so much money, because it's the hardest thing to do is to have the quality, the composure, to finish chances, to have the knack of being in the right place at the right time. Not everybody has that skill or that ability or that quality. It's very hard to find in it. As you can see in today's game, maybe the traditional number 9s or those players with that killer instinct, it's a lot harder to find these days.
Yeah, I remember talking with Tommy Sohn, who got let go in Birmingham. They aren't growing on trees. I get 100 emails every week from agents. He'd say, here's a striker. This is the guy you need. And it's not that simple. Ward playing early. And a heavy hop that meets Rakowski at the high point. If it were, I mean, and we're looking at Dylan in some of the best form he's been in 5-6 years. And we're only a quarter of the way through the season. He's 5 goals through 7 games. Perfect world, that continues. He's a 20-goal scorer, but
it gives even more credit to what Mark Hannick was able to accomplish last season from a wide position. He wasn't a traditional number 9. He was getting those goals from a wide position.
Yeah, that's how you get the move to Castellon at the end of the year. Ooh, Darius Johnson just continues to go for it. He and Ward.
It'd be interesting to know how much stoppage time, but I think if you get towards the last 5 minutes of the game and you're Phoenix, maybe you shut up shot and you'd be content to walk away with a point. I think taking a point away from Colorado Springs is obviously never going to be a bad result. What it does mean is that you will need to turn your home games into 3 points. Going on the road, picking up a point and getting 3 points at home is a good formula for making the playoffs and being consistent and competitive towards the postseason.
No, I didn't know that I'd get the chance to bring this back around, but I want to mention this article again. Advice about Darius Johnson. It was called London, Mischief, Fortnite, and Volendam. Unsuccessful trials. He quit soccer for a year. This guy put together a 43-kill Fortnite game, so he's thinking, maybe I could be a YouTuber. His mom goes, no, get a job. So he's out delivering food. He gets an opportunity to go up against the Rising Ballers who do Instagram videos to promote young talent in the London area. He ends up playing 15 minutes, getting injured, but they saw enough to say, hey, come play with us. So he goes 5 games semi-pro, earns a trial at Chelsea, and if not for a transfer ban, and would end up going to Chelsea after a stint with their under-23s. So he goes overseas to Volendam for a couple of years, works his way into the Dutch First Division, gets called into the Grenada national team, and then signs in August of 2024 with Phoenix.
Some story.
It is wild. I can count on one hand the number of stories in the league that felt like that.
I bet you he has a lot of talent.
Well, he went from the Rising Ballers to Phoenix Rising in a 7-year span. He's got something. And Rakowski, after that near post run, didn't result in much of anything. We'll take a goal kick here for Phoenix.
As we spoke about, as long as there's not 7 minutes plus of a stoppage time, maybe if you're the players on the Phoenix team, you're talking about, hey, let's shut up, stop. Let's get compact. Let's walk away from here with a point at least. Leave with your chest held high.
Tejada's pressure helps to keep it. Lofted long for Fjellberg. Here's Rakowski.
There was many times as a player you're away from home and you get to this phase of the game, the group on the pitch, the leaders on the pitch, take it among themselves and say, hey, at this stage, a point away from home is not a bad result. Let's shut up shop and everybody collectively see this game out.
When you've hemorrhaged goals throughout the season, absolutely a point on the road is a decent prize to take at the reigning champion. We'll see if that's the mentality from here. They have made a change. Damian Rivera, who started 4, now subs for the 3rd time this year, enters. It's it for Formella. Substitution brought to you by UCCS, where business careers start. That's it, sub-wise. That's the 3rd and final change for Phoenix. And when you look down their bench, and the youth and inexperience, that's probably not a big surprise here tonight. As we get to the business end of the game here in the 88th. lost by Fjellberg. Norwegian player who was twice A10 Player of the Year for the Dayton Flyers, stopping at RGV Indy and then coming to Colorado Springs a year ago. Ooh, just got by Dylan. Senge looks like he's been here for a minute. Long for Sacco. Cabral calling for it. Mahoney got a piece as it was beyond Cabral. Corner. Corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. McDivitt is in your corner.
Phoenix continuing to look threatening on the counterattack. If you're Colorado Springs, maybe this tie frustrates you a little bit. Maybe you feel like this was the game to change your fortunes, to get a win at home in front of your home fans, to pick up 3 points, climb up the table.
Corner scarce.
In terms of moving the position for either of these teams.
This will run all the way down to Romero. It's not going to make a lot of difference in terms of getting out of the bottom from a big leap. The winner could have gone into tie for 5th, but it does put both teams up near the line.
Yeah, they'll both jump up to 8th and 9th in the table. 3 teams will drop below them: Oakland, Lexington, Sacramento. And it'll be Colorado who will sit in the last playoff position, in 8th position, should this result stay as it is right now. So there is a small movement. You no longer see them holding up the foot of the table. It definitely visually looks a little bit better than it did at the start of the game.
Although Oakland and Sacramento, of course, playing tomorrow at the Coliseum on CBS Sports Network. So one of them, in theory, would jump. Not that that's a concern for tonight. Stoppage time brought to you by the Tick-Tock Shop.
Just 3 points separate 12th position in the table and 6th position in the table.
Wow. It felt that way all the way through last year. Colorado Springs started 0-5. They finished 2nd on the last day, the last 15 minutes of the regular season. And instead of having to go on the road as they could have had they lost their finale in the first round, much less every following round, they ended up playing at home all 4 games of the playoffs. That's how tight it was. And Sacramento, on the other hand, finished 5th, and their coach was out.
And we've spoken about how this facility, this stadium, does provide them a home advantage, especially when you start to get into playoff territory, and it's just a little bit colder up here.
No idea what you mean. As I stood on the roof in November. It's a seasonably decent day. We got away with one there. Another minute and a half to go here. Tejada, one of the great goal-scoring substitutes in the league. Knocks it outside to Lacroix. Back into Tejada. Tejada strides. Tejada. A letdown at the end.
Again, it's that space in front of the back line. Look how much time Tejada has to control this ball, get the ball out of his feet. He doesn't quite manage to pick his spot on this occasion, but the spacing that the players have in front of the back four is always going to be extremely threatening.
Is there one more chance here under the lights tonight, one way or the other? Fjellberg gets beneath it. Smashed out of play, and Colorado Springs is likely to get the last chance upfield here.
Although, if this result stands, neither team will lose. Both teams will still remain winless. This will extend Colorado's winless streak to 4 games. It will extend Phoenix Rising's winless streak to three games. Is there still time for one more opportunity?
Ball bounces right back to Fjellberg, knocks it outside. Micheletto. Clearance comes high. We've gone the 3 minutes. Outside to Ward. Can't really go back now and expect any more time. Goes inside to Zandy. Ward got cleaned out. They're going to allow this to play for a moment longer. Mahoney. It was looking for Ward. Sent upfield. Can Cabral corral this? Cabral in behind, around the keeper. Was that touched outside the area? It is. It's a red card. Keeper got sent off.
It's a red card worth taking in the last kick of the game.
Wow, and they're out of subs. So someone's going to have to put on the shirt.
For this free kick, which is essentially going to be the last kick of the game. It seems like they have one more sub, no?
They do. They made the double sub, bringing in Huerman and Fjellberg together. Wow, okay.
But this is different. If you're Cabral and you knock this on the floor around the goalkeeper, he don't stand a chance. The touch is in the air. Now the goalkeeper gets his hand on it.
Worth it. That's a point right there.
Even after he handles it, you still get the ball you put in the back of the net.
Yeah. Red card.
Listen, there's taking one for the team and there's taking one for the team. I think Romero's took a massive one for his team. I don't think there's red cards when your head coach is disappointed. You think this is a red card when your head coach might pat you on the back and buy you a beer.
Red card issued to Romero. Ejection sponsored by Diversus Health. Mental health and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. So Herrera's going to come in. There's been a battle for the #1 shirt. And if you're Romero, you hope you don't get Wally pipped here, to go in a different parlance. Rakowski's out at midfield. You wonder if he's thinking, this is the last kick, surely. Do I take this free kick and get an extra number in the box? Everyone's going to have to try and figure out how to mark this up when you're down a man.
One thing's for certain, this has got to be almost the last kick of the game.
So Herrera surely is going to start next week. UCCS presents the sub, where business careers begin. Herrera offers thoughts to the wall and backs in for a very busy, perhaps couple seconds stint in this game.
And it's the man that you were talking about, Johnson, stepping up. Nobody else within even close proximity. This is all his.
Well, this is the game right here.
All or nothing in the dying stages.
Darius Johnson can win it. Darius Johnson did not put it on frame. That's it. That's the game. Romero just saved a point at the death with a red card. And Colorado Springs come from behind to grab a point. Phoenix goes on the road, grabs the early goal, and gets something away to the reigning champion. And it finishes 1-1 tonight. Wow.
It finishes 1-1 because Romero takes the red card. Let's be honest, if Romero doesn't take that red card, you expect Cabral to put that into the back of the net and give Phoenix the go-ahead goal in the dying seconds of the second half. But Romero makes a smart choice. Handballs it, takes the red card. Colorado Springs survive with a point.
The crucial moment of the match is brought to you by Common Spirit Health. And while the red card protects the point, you needed a goal to get the point.
Hanya dips his shoulder, drives inside, picks out his teammate on the edge of the box, and the finish is absolutely class. Fontana guides it into the side of the net, calm, composed, gives the goalkeeper no chance.
58th minute equalizer after the 11th minute goal from Gerald Margarita. His first league goal in any league since 2020 and first in the championship since 2018.
Nothing Rakowski could have done about that one, to be honest. I think it was a greatly contested match.
We're going to wrap this one up on the other side of the break. Tonight's game has been presented by Sunbelt Rentals. 1-1 and a lot to digest when we come back.
Injured in a crash? Get McDivitt and you get a firm dedicated to every single detail of your case.
We have the knowledge and resources to investigate the crash and your insurance company's small print.
Details matter. That's why we dive deep into every aspect of your case. This gives us the firepower we need to make the insurance company pay you the money you deserve.
We never ask you to pay a penny until we get you max money for your injuries.
Online at McDivittLaw.com.
McDivitt.
The moment you call McDivitt, an action plan is put into place right away to get you the help you need.
Each case and each client is different, with different needs and solutions. Your attorney and team immediately investigates every aspect of your crash and injuries.
We track down all the paperwork and deal directly with the insurance company for you.
We keep you in the loop every step of the way, fighting to get you max money for your injuries.
And you never pay us a dime until we get money for you.
McDivitt.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Back at the Springs, the votes are in. The Groom Transportation Man of the Match, Anthony Fontana, game-tying goal. Groom Airport Shuttle providing stress-free transportation between Colorado Springs and EIA. All righty, there are highlights galore in this one. Only 2 goals to show for it. We start early. That is Dylan denied by Rakowski.
Colorado Springs had a great start to the game. They had the possession, they had the chances, some fantastic goalkeeping from Rakowski. Kept Phoenix in the game, and then they found a way to get the go-ahead goal.
It is the giveaway by Ward as it chopped up on him. Sacco across. And our full-time highlights presented by McDivitt Law Firm. What a finish by Margarita.
Margarita, a moment of absolute class. A great through ball here from Sacco. Great first touch. Buries it into the top right corner of the goal, giving the goalkeeper no chance.
So Phoenix grabs the lead away, and Colorado Springs is held scoreless in the first half for the first time in 7 games. Could have been 2 if not for Mahoney there.
Cabral had a fantastic opportunity, just scuffs his shot. Felt like he was a striker lacking a little bit of confidence in today's game.
Here's Lacroix getting forward, little dip from Mahania, and it's Fontana with a good finish.
For me, Hanya has far too much time and space on the edge of the box here, but it's a great cutback, and Fontana guides the ball into the side net and gets his team the equalizing goal.
His first goal in the league, second for Colorado Springs inclusive of the Open Cup. At the 64th minute, Cabral had enough chances to win this game.
Cabral here again does everything right, opens his hips, but unfortunately guides it the wrong side of the upright. Perfect moment to give Phoenix a 2-1 lead. Unable to convert the opportunity.
Ahead to 90+3, and this would save a point as Mahoney sends it forward, ball deflects the other way, and Romero comes off his line, handball outside the area.
Cabral again with that electric pace. I thought with that first touch, maybe he should have beat the goalkeeper and put it away, but Romero takes the red card.
And then Johnson airmails the last kick of the game. Here's a look at the final stats as the fireworks are underway. Here they're brought to you by Groom Transportation. A chance, Chris, for your final thoughts.
As you can see, a lot of shots from both of these 2 teams. 2 of the highest goal-scoring teams in both conferences. You're always going to be entertained with when these 2 teams compete against each other. Both teams still have a lot of work to do defensively. I think a tie is a fair result at the end of the night.
Well, an awesome night this evening in downtown Colorado Springs. 33 total shots, the 2 goals, and the very late drama as the Switchbacks able to save a point at the death. Tonight's game has been presented by Sunbelt Rentals. For Chris Nurse and our entire team in the Springs and Beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. Colorado Springs and Phoenix finished tonight 1 goal apiece. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.